In the grand tradition of American politics, the first 100 days of a presidency offer a glimpse into the leader's priorities, vision, and political strategy. But in 2025, as Donald Trump returned to the White House for an unprecedented second non-consecutive term, those 100 days became something far greater. They became a cultural, political, and digital spectacle that has fundamentally altered the trajectory of American democracy. From the moment he stepped back into the Oval Office, Trump made it clear this term would not be one of cautious governance or bipartisan healing. It would be, in his words, a total reset. A reset not just of policies or institutions, but of the very identity of the United States. He promised to erase what he called the woke decay of the previous administration, restore what he defined as true American values, and reassert the nation's dominance on the global stage. But what followed has been a storm of executive orders, controversial announcements, and strategic media plays that have left the nation more divided and more transfixed than ever. One of the most talked about symbols of this era didn't come from a press conference or a policy paper. It came from Saturday Night Live, a show that, for decades, has held a mirror to American politics through the lens of satire. In a recent episode, the show depicted Trump as a digitally generated pope, a surreal yet deeply symbolic portrayal. The sketch showed him standing before a glowing, holy-like backdrop, arms outstretched as if blessing a nation not just politically, but spiritually. The image was at once absurd and profound. It mocked the godlike reverence with which some of his supporters treat him, and yet, in its exaggerated form, it also captured something real: the cult of personality that has evolved around Trump in the age of digital propaganda. This satire wasn't plucked from fantasy, it was rooted in truth. Trump's digital team has leaned heavily into AI-generated content, including videos that distort voices, faces, and events to portray him as a hero, a savior, a warrior against the enemies of freedom. These AI tools, once seen as futuristic novelties, have become mainstream instruments in the political arena, tools for persuasion, manipulation, and myth-building. In these first 100 days, Trump's communication style has also evolved. While still fond of fiery rallies and unscripted speeches, much of his messaging now comes in the form of short viral video clips on platforms like Truth Social, X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram Reels. These videos mix real footage with AI-generated enhancements, glowing filters, dramatic music, cinematic angles, to create what some have called political performance art. It's not just politics, it's a curated experience designed to stir emotion, incite loyalty, and silence dissent. Behind this digital theater, however, lies real policy, some of it bold, some of it deeply controversial. Trump has signed executive orders to crack down on immigration, revive oil and coal projects, to fund diversity initiatives in federal agencies, and tighten the grip of law enforcement. His administration has proposed reopening the infamous Alcatraz prison for what it calls high-risk national offenders, a move that has drawn both praise and alarm. On the international front, Trump has reignited tensions with China and the EU, questioned NATO's future, and issued blunt threats toward Iran following a series of regional skirmishes. And yet, despite, or perhaps because of, these actions, his approval rating among Republican voters has soared. For many of them, Trump is not just a president. He is a symbol of resistance against what they perceive as a corrupt, globalist elite. They believe he speaks for the forgotten American, and they dismiss satire and criticism as further evidence of a biased, out-of-touch media establishment. But for others, these 100 days have been a chilling reminder of the fragility of democratic norms. Civil rights organizations have raised alarms about voter suppression laws being introduced in Republican-led states. Journalists and academics have reported increasing threats and intimidation. Protests have erupted in cities across the country, with demonstrators demanding protections for immigrants, reproductive rights, LGBTQ+ communities, and freedom of speech. In this polarized environment, even humor has become a battleground. The SNL sketch wasn't just a joke. It was an act of political resistance. But it also exposed the limits of satire in a world where fiction and reality increasingly blur. For Trump supporters, such portrayals are simply more proof that the liberal elite is out to humiliate them and their champion. For his critics, satire is one of the last remaining tools to speak truth to power. As America moves beyond the 100-day mark, one thing is clear. Trump's second term is not merely a continuation of his first. It is an escalation. It is more visually charged, more media savvy, more algorithmically engineered, and more emotionally divisive. It is a presidency that thrives not just on power, but on perception, on the images people see, the narratives they consume, and the identities they attach themselves to. Whether this path leads to a strengthened nation or a fractured democracy remains to be seen. But what cannot be denied is this. In just 100 days, Donald Trump has reshaped not just policy, but the very language of American leadership. And the battle for the soul of the United States is far from over.